Hello, welcome again to another episode on Talk Architecture podcast. And I'm your host, Naziaty Mohd Yaacob. And I commented on an article at dzine.com on the 15th of August 2025, where the article said, "Being an architect isn't worth it," says a commenter. And right on top, where it says an article that the industry is fundamentally broken. So reports rang true with Dzine readers for Jeff, quote, "The architecture industry and architectural education have been too long detached from one another. Therefore," they stated, "the industry for me is fundamentally broken. And the RIBA and RIAS seem to fiddle away on peripheral issues while Rome burns." So this kind of like dramatic, but a lot of us has been thinking about this. There is a disconnect between architectural education and architectural practice. And what I did was I reacted to it, obviously, and I was reading something, or I had an interaction with someone wanting their child to be an architectural visualizer. And I said, why not they be an architect? And because she was thinking that they're very good at drawing and so on, the mother whom I interacted on, I think it's Threads, said that no, I think it's architectural visualizer that the child has need would want to do, and I have no problems with that. What another human being want to aspire to, but then I was thinking. I commented, "Why don't be an architect so they have choices later on to be an architectural visualizer?" But she was adamant that you know, that the child just wanted to draw and visualize. But what it made me think was to actually address this bigger issue because of the Dzine article. So I said that the rise of architectural visualizer courses and such like shows a certain trend that happened not because we're not following current developments and market demands, but because of architecture education and schools of architecture fail to address the fundamentals of training an architect. Remember the disconnect between education and practice? What architecture schools have failed to do is to recognize design problems in each project and solve it. As the project becomes more complex, the student must be able to solve like 12 to 20 design problems in the thesis year or the final year, rather than 2 to 4 design problems in the first year project. But there need to be different design problems. You can have some design problems appearing again and again, but there need to be others in it because the student will get bored. I've had a student graduate who did very well, saying that they just coasted because they just produce work for their tutors to say, "Yay, that's a wow factor." They just basically did illustrations. So I'm not surprised about the architectural visualizer, a goal for people. But so I didn't record this or publish this interview I had with this graduate, but they wanted to project their emotions and how they felt about being in architecture school. So you see, I contested here that even in first year, a student can do a master plan project. It's just about identifying the design problems that the student need to identify. Obviously, for first year student, they had secondary school earlier. They know about issues in environment like traffic jams and Problems with traffic, problem with crossing the road, problems with, things that people would normally face in the built environment. And that could be one of the design problems they could identify that they have experienced before. Therefore, they can do the master plan. Even problems with disconnect between complex of buildings. Uh, I had, as a younger lecturer, before, being criticized of introducing master planning project for the third year. Though the students clearly loved doing that project, because I was experimenting what is urban context and what is urban design. And traditionally, people would only do urban design in the fourth year. So to me now, thinking about it, that was fine actually to do a master planning project in the third year. And because we just don't understand about the design problem made us feel kind of like uncomfortable about doing it for the students. So, it's just about what you want them to learn, really. So when you break down things to design problem, like interior design have micro design problems, which you can touch. You can even create physically, like an interior design of a space, like a bedroom or a bathroom even, usually people don't do bathroom because the equipment difficult to replicate. But with 3D printing or using cardboard boxes, you can create a bathroom project, no problem. You can do a mock-up and you can learn about the design problem in terms of accessibility. But anyway, this thing about critting students and asking what is the wow factor, just focusing on the image or the SketchUp design, the 3D of the project, and doing it again and again with the different projects year after year is not going to make the students be able to be challenged. And it's, just wasting of time. You can have a couple of similar design problems throughout the years, but there need to be other things that you need to learn. Okay. So, critics, all academics need to know this and be on the same page about this. It's not about the size of the project, it's about the design problems addressed in each project. And actually, at the end of the day, you can have architecture degree, only one, 3 years, and then 2 years of practical training, and you can register an architect. That would be so attractive to do architecture. There'll be no issue of is it worth it, And then not only that, you'll be confident because you've been focusing on the skills and knowledge of to be a graduate architect. But you can do your stuff, when they say that architecture schools seems not to be in touch with the reality of what's happening in industry. You can have your experiential arts and humanities because it's part of life, and they could expound on that and be that graduate who reads a lot, So the inquisitive nature, the curiosity will never be eliminated from the architecture education course. So it's just that we're not on the same boat. We're not focusing on the design problems and making a course in any university or college attractive and getting the students to focus on what is really needed. Because there is too much wrong learning or non-learning or repetitive learning in the course, which lack serious challenges. You get graduates who are not confident and can't compete. That's the reason why you have this article and you have this article reacting on the situation of being an architect isn't worth it anymore. So I'm asking you again, is that true? That it's not worthy it anymore to be an architect? I'm asking the profession. I'm asking the university academics who are in schools of architecture. So we need to learn or relearn or understand this much more precise. Thank you very much for listening.